Anura Kumara Dissanayake වන මම ශ්‍රී ලංකා ප්‍රජාතාන්ත්‍රික සමාජවාදී ජනරජයේ ජනාධිපතිවරේ කාර්ය හා කර්තව්‍ය ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ව්‍යවස්ථාවට සහ නීතියට අනුකූලව අවංකව ඉටු කරන බවටද ශ්‍රී ලංකා ජනරජයට පක්ෂපාත වන බවටද මාගේ උපරිම ශක්ති ප්‍රමාණයෙන් ශ්‍රී ලංකා ප්‍රජාතාන්ත්‍රික සමාජවාදී ජනරජයේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ දේශයේ තුල වෙනම රජයක් පිහිටුවීමට කෙලින්ම හෝ අන්‍යාකාරයෙන් ශ්‍රී ලංකාව තුලදී හෝ දේශනා කිරීම නොකරන බවටද ගෞරව බහුමාන්‍ය යුක්තව ප්‍රකාශ කොට තිබෙනවා.
This is Anura Kumara Dissanayake, leader of the Janata Vimukti Paramunna or JVP's broader coalition called the National People's Power, who has been elected as Sri Lanka's new president. Dissanayake won in the first elections held after the country's economic crisis began. In the elections, Dissanayake secured close to 42% of the popular vote. His nearest rival, Sajith Premadasa, lost to him by a massive margin, securing only 23% of the votes polled. The incumbent president, Ranil Wickremesinghe, trailed behind at third position with only 16% of the total votes cast. Although Dissanayake has been in active politics for over 3 decades, but he is not a known figure outside of Sri Lanka. And a question which is being asked about him in India is, what does he think about the role played by India in Sri Lanka over the years? A staunch Marxist, some are wondering if he has a soft corner for Maoist China. Hello and welcome, you're watching The Mint and I'm Abhishek Singh. In this video, I will answer all those questions, so keep watching. I will tell you everything you need to know about Sri Lanka's next president. Now, Dissanayake is the curveball India has been preparing for. India's High Commissioner, Santosh Jha, was the first diplomat to call on the president-elect and congratulate him, saying India, as a civilizational twin, was committed to deepening ties for the prosperity of the people of both countries. But before we focus on his politics, let's talk about the man. Get to know him better. So who is Anura Kumara Dissanayake? Born in a lower middle class family in Thambutagama village in Anuradhapura district, located around 170 kilometers from the country's capital Colombo. Dissanayake's father, who is a daily wage earner, and his homemaker mother ensured he finishes his education. A science graduate from the University of Kelaniya, he became active in students' politics while he was still studying in the university. Dissanayake's active participation in student politics during his college days resulted in him joining the JVP's anti-government armed uprising between 1987 and 89 against the quote, imperialist and capitalist regime, unquote, of then presidents Jayawardene and R. Premadasa. A Marxist, he rose to the position of national organizer of the Socialist Students Association in 1995. Soon after, he was appointed to the Central Working Committee of the party. By 1998, he had already become a member of JVP's political bureau. In 2000, Dissanayake became a member of the Sri Lankan parliament. While JVP supported President Kumaratunga's administration, his party later aligned with Sinhala nationalists in 2002 to oppose peace negotiations with the Tamil rebel group LTTE, which was fighting an armed uprising against the Sinhala-dominated government in Colombo. His party started playing a more key role after 2004 presidential elections, in which it formed an alliance with Mahinda Rajapaksa's United People's Freedom Alliance. The party's stance was severely criticized by the outside world as it supported the ruthless campaign to root out the LTTE and took an explicit anti-ceasefire stand. Although a Marxist, his attitude towards the Buddhist has been of acceptance. While campaigning, he assured the Buddhists living in Sri Lanka that Article 9 of the Constitution, which guarantees a foremost place to Buddhism, has, quote, divine protection, unquote. The current coalition, which has won the election, called the NPP, has also committed to protecting Article 9. If you're wondering what's his stance on Tamil ethnic minorities, his party, the JVP, is against devolution of power to the Tamils. His party is also opposed to the Indo-Sri Lankan Accord of 1987, signed by then India's Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. Dissanayake's anti-federalist party manifesto states that it will ensure territorial integrity and sovereignty of the country without compromise. The party had approached the Supreme Court against the merger of northern and eastern provinces, as promised by the 1987 Accord, which led to formal demerger of those provinces in 2007. JVP is known to be a backer of the Sri Lankan armed forces, even when the armed forces were being criticized for their brutal military campaign against LTTE and its leader Prabhakaran. During those days, Dissanayake opposed any attempt at an international investigation into the Sri Lankan army's war crimes, something on which there has been no change of heart. In fact, JVP had staged agitations in front of the United Nations office and other Western embassies in Colombo against the demands for an international investigation into the alleged war crimes. Sri Lanka is awaiting the release of next tranches worth $350 million from the International Monetary Fund, out of its bailout package, which is worth $3 billion. Dissanayake has repeatedly said that his party would seek to renegotiate the terms of the agreement, something that the current government has warned against. Those in the know suggest that Dissanayake may be inclined towards China, a notion rooted in the stereotype of Marxist leaders. Historically, Sri Lanka has favored China during the Rajapaksa era, with significant loans, funding controversial projects like the Colombo port city and Hambantota port, ultimately exacerbating country's debt crisis. Disanayake's party, the National People's Power, aims to allay concerns about potential pro-China leanings. They have reassured India that the new administration will not become entangled in geopolitical rivalries. Sri Lankan territory will not be used against any other nation, Bimal Ratnanayake, a spokesperson for the party, told AFP. We are truly aware of the geopolitical situation in our region, but we will not participate. Despite India's efforts, China remains a significant player in Sri Lankan politics. From 2006 to 2022, China committed $11.2 billion in grants and loans for infrastructure projects, far exceeding the $97 million spent by the US during the same time frame, according to a Bloomberg report citing aid data. India is increasingly cautious about China's footprints in Sri Lanka, particularly following the leasing of Hambantota port to a Chinese firm, once intended to be a major shipping hub. Hambantota struggled to attract traffic, leading Sri Lanka to surrender control to China for 99 years in exchange for $1.1 billion. This move has raised fears that the port could be used for military purposes, a claim Sri Lankan officials have refuted. It is perhaps too early to say whether he will lean towards India or China. But one thing is for sure, India does need to keep a close eye on developments in Sri Lanka. If you liked watching this video, please don't forget to like and share and to subscribe to The Mint.